Gentlemen, we have an interesting video today, all right? Why I dropped Wuthering Waves. I am curious why Kekvin initially or originally had dropped Wuthering Waves, because I mean, all I play is Wuthering Waves to an extent, pretty much. At least in the gacha sphere. I play a lot of other games for fun, obviously. But I am curious why he dropped it. And let's see why he dropped it, and he came back. Let's see what brought him back and what made him drop it. Let's
I
get to it.
dropped Wuthering Waves. 1 year
Ooh,
ago today, I decided I'm no longer going to cover the game. I had spent about 1 month
one
on my
year
YouTube channel
today.
covering the
What
game,
day
and
is?
then it all came to an end.
Damn.
Until very
August? Was that
recently. And today we're going
1.2,
to talk about
1.3?
my story, covering Wuthering Waves, why I dropped it in the first place, why I decided to come back,
Okay.
and why at the time I thought Genshin Impact was a better game.
You what?
Today we're going to talk about all of it and how Wuthering
W editor
Waves
on that one.
has completely reinvented and changed my mind on its game.
Okay.
Boys, I think this is one of the better redemption stories. Let's
For sure. For sure. I think obviously if you played from release or you played a little bit 1.0 and you came back for 2.0 and stuff like that, you could definitely tell the game has massively changed. I'm not going to fault someone for dropping the game in 1.0. It was a very rough time. I personally enjoyed it, but this was my first interaction. I'd say first mainline interaction with a gacha game, especially of this model where it's world exploration and stuff like that, and a huge consideration on the story. So I definitely enjoyed 1.1. But looking back on it now, coming from looking back on it after we had 2.0, 2.2, 2.4, 2.5, and coming up 2.6, is it's not as good. So I'm curious. I think we all know why he came back. Everyone came back for 2.0. 2.0 was so amazing. But let's break it down. Let's see what's going on here.
get straight into it. So back during the WUWA 1.0 update, I was
Yep.
actually a pretty big content creator for the game. I would say pretty big.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
relative. But early on into the game, I was covering it pretty normally on my channel. I was
Damn.
doing about 35K, 22K, 49K. I was
Hell
doing
yeah.
pretty well
That's
on
way
my
better than me.
Wuthering Waves videos. Early on, I was having a lot of fun in the game.
It was
I
a lot
joined the
of fun,
creator
to be
server.
honest.
I
That
was
first
playing
initial
pretty much
playthrough was
every
so much
day,
fun.
and then it all came crashing down. The amount of issues that came out during WUWA 1.0 is, I'm sure, something that I don't need to reiterate to you all,
That's
because I'm
true.
sure we're all familiar with it. But during the 1.0 launch, I would consider it one of the most, if not the most disastrous launch in gacha gaming history.
I don't know about that because I haven't really played any other gachas. I could definitely say it's definitely not the worst launch in GameSphere. There's definitely way worse launches in the Gamesphere and stuff like that. But I haven't played any gachas. This guy knows what's up.
It was a very buggy launch. There were a ton of unpolished issues that definitely
I
need
didn't
to
have
be
issues,
sorted out before they
but I
released the
was
game.
very well
I think
aware
if
of
they had just
everyone
given
else
it
that
maybe
had issues.
1 or 2
So
extra months and polished
completely
out some of those more
understandable.
finer details, they definitely would have had a lot better product upon launch.
That's true. If they had let it cooked a bit longer, for sure. I think we all, especially after the Solon interview, I need to look at. I mean, I looked at that and I watched the videos on it. I need to actually like look at the tweet and break it down. But from what the Solon interview that happened, I think it was a couple days ago, is he talked about 2.0 or the Zone Renacida was actually supposed to be on release as well. It was supposed to be Huanglong and Renacida on top of that. So I think that's fair. And then also from what we know is I believe they had to scrap the story like a year before release. They kind of had like a Destiny issue where like Destiny scrapped the story a year before release and then redid the story, and that's why Destiny story is kind of dog shit in the beginning at least. For sure, for sure. Let's get it.
Nonetheless, they weren't finished out.
That's
There
true.
were problems with mobile gaming with
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the funniest screenshots I've ever seen.
I still don't know how people play this on mobile because I mean, I play on PC. I love playing this game on PC. Playing it on mobile seems so difficult, to be honest. I feel like it's harder to play this game on mobile, to be real.
Scene with characters getting completely bugged out of the game.
Yep.
There was an extremely underwhelming story that
True.
felt drawn out, somewhat boring, and
I would love if they went back and they redid a lot of the voice lines of 1.0. I mean, hell, they went back and they added flight for 1.0 zones, so maybe this is like a maybe they'll not change the story, but compress the story. The story of 1.0 is quite long on the initial release and stuff like that. It's hard to digest. A lot of weird words, big words. It's a lot going on there. Plus the voice acting, the voice direction is not so great.
voice acting that just wasn't there, or more specifically, I should say, voice direction that just wasn't there.
Yep.
City established in Huanglong, located in inner Huanglong, while Zhenzhou is in outer Huanglong.
There's some very funny clips from early on where it sounds like Rover's supposed to be screaming, but instead of screaming, they're just like talking to Scar.
You're not going anywhere.
But nonetheless,
Well, to be real, from what I've seen, because I always played the guy character, never played the female Rover and stuff, is a lot of people didn't like female Rover's voice acting. Male Rovers was a bit better, but also wasn't great.
the 1.0
They definitely got better, though,
was,
for
I
now.
would
They're
say,
definitely way better
a
now,
big
2.0.
down point of Wuthering
2.0
Waves. A lot of other complaints that I've seen online that maybe I didn't feel, but just reiterating some other complaints where it felt like a second Genshin, which I'm going to be honest, I think they take a lot of inspiration from Genshin.
I've never played Genshin. Not because I don't like the game, but it's just I wasn't even aware of it. And by the time I'm aware of it now, I'm so far behind on patches. It's just so much to catch up on. I'm a guy who likes to play games when they release. I don't like to play games years after they come out and then play catch up. It's me.
But you know what? You take inspiration for the best and you make it better, which is exactly what Wuthering Waves has done since their 1.0 launch.
You always want to improve.
Some more complaints include it was too grindy, which I do understand. At the time, I was playing 4 gacha games, and Wuthering Waves was, I think, my third, and then I picked up, I think Zenless came out after
I can barely do one,
so
but I
was
also
playing
play
all
other
4
games,
at a time,
so that's fair.
which definitely took a big toll on me, and was definitely a very large reason into why I ended up dropping the game. Was because I just simply couldn't handle playing the 4 big gachas all at once. Even though I would have loved to drop Genshin at the time, I simply couldn't because I was contractually obligated to play Genshin at the time. In fact, even a larger egg among that, which you may find a bit of an interesting tidbit, because I was contracted to play Genshin, the people who were contracting me to play the game had actually advised me to make less Wuthering Waves content. Now, I eventually broke my contract off from these people, but that's a larger egg for...
I don't know. I don't know anything about contracts or anything like that and stuff like along those lines, but competition's competition. I'm not gonna fucking dog on people for following a contract. That's fair game.
For another day. I think we'll leave that untouched for now, but know that I did have content restrictions from a third party that did not allow me to cover Wuthering Waves as much.
So it wasn't MiHoYo, it was a third party, the contractor between the two. That's intriguing.
Which was another factor that ultimately led me to drop the game in the 1.0 launch. I think I played until about maybe early Changli, uploaded a video on Changli, and then never ended up coming back.
So Changli was end of 1.1. So damn, okay, so he literally dropped it like a month and a half after release, basically, maybe 2 months. Whew.
Then there was no Wuthering Waves on my channel for the next 1 year.
Damn,
I ultimately decided to drop Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero as well, becoming a purely Honkai Star Rail channel, which I do think...
I've literally... The only MiHoYo game I played, I think, was Honkai Impact 3rd, and I played that on the phone when I was, like, in high school, I think. But that wasn't really, like... You know, I wasn't watching content. I wasn't invested. I was just kind of like one of those things where you're bored and just playing around on your phone because you're just like, yeah, you know. It was fun. It was fun.
Was something I regret doing. I should have dropped Genshin earlier. I should have broke my contract earlier, continued to play Wuthering Waves. But it's really hard to predict the trajectory of a game, and I didn't expect Wuthering Waves to get this much better. And I think when it started to all improve was around the 2...
That's actually fair, because I wouldn't say like you look at all the other gacha games and stuff like that, but I guess how people have been portrayed or viewed gacha games, at least in the gacha sphere, is they tend to not improve dramatically and that quickly, to be honest. And it's kind of a gamble whether they fucking succeed or they just crash and tumble. Especially, let's keep it a buck, MiHoYo, when they put out a gacha game, it succeeds to an extent. You look at their 3 mainline ones they have right now, Genshin Impact, Star Rail, and ZZZ. These are all top earners, and ZZZ and Wuthering Waves are always kind of going back and forth and stuff. So makes sense that any other company would be a bit trepidatious on in a weird way. He'd be like, I don't know if they're gonna massively improve this or not. But glad to be mistaken, though, to be honest. It's a pleasant surprise. They massively improved the game, for sure.
2.0 update of Wuthering Waves.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there were good stories before the 2.0 update. I actually played the 1.3 Black Shore update. That had an amazing story.
I loved
but
it.
I think the update as a whole was probably a little lackluster.
That's fair.
But version 2.0 is when everything changed for Wuthering Waves.
Oh, yeah. The hype leading up to 2.0, like, especially after the live stream, was massive. It was like, holy shit. And also, it was like, I think 2.0 dropped like December 29th or some shit like that. It was like January 3rd. And it was like a whole new year, whole new game almost in a weird way. It was so much fun. It was such a fun experience. I loved watching everyone play it, all the reactions. This was before I even started making videos. I was like, this is so much fun. It was I still regret not being able to record all the times I played Wuthering Waves through the story. I should have done this a lot sooner.
Major quality of life improvements.
Yep.
We're talking flying. They
Yep.
added flying to the game, which was super dope. Not
Huge.
that their movement wasn't already superior
And we're getting it in 1.0. Let's fucking go, baby. Hell yeah.
to everything else at the time, being like grappling, wall running. Their movement has always been superior to every other gacha game that I can think of.
Yep.
But on top of that, they introduced one of the best.
I mean, and the crazy part, if you think about this, they've kind of they've scaled out themselves in essence. 1.0 they had amazing movement, infinite stamina, running up walls, the grapple and stuff. And then they outscaled themselves with 2.0 where it made 1.0 boring to explore, which thank God they're adding flying back, or they're adding flying to 1.0 zone. But that's kind of cool that you're outscaling your own yourselves. That's actually good. That's improvement. That's what we love to see. Even if it's 1 step or 40 steps or 5 steps, any steps, I'm glad you're taking.
Stories, being the early 2.0 Renacita story, which was very, very compelling and one I enjoyed very much.
It was
Now,
really
they
good.
have expanded since then. We're going to get into that.
really like
but there was
2.0.
also the new region of Renacita, which is just, again,
Beautiful.
another fun region to explore because
Yep.
with the introduction of flying and the already good movement techniques in the game, it just made for an even more fun experience playing
Sure.
and interacting with the world. Not to mention the amount of free polls they gave out that update. I think
Ooh. I never really track polls, to be honest, but I also just get the characters I want, you know? But holy but Jesus, that is holy fuck, that's a lot of polls, actually. Good God. My lord. Free to play with that's pretty damn good, I can't lie.
it was a ludicrous amount. I remember I actually logged in for that update just so I can go and get one character. And then I ended up getting that character and then logging off again because unfortunately 2.0 was not enough to convince me to come back.
Really?
Even with the rover
Really?
gender switching, the immersion mode, the early boss access, new echoes and weapons, all of that wasn't enough to convince me to come back to the game.
Well, I'm curious
I was
now.
still a doubter. In 2.0, I still thought, I don't think this game's going to make a comeback.
That's fair. I have brought this up a couple times with 2.0. It was so amazing and so insane. People like maybe this is a one-off. Maybe this is like they had a stroke of was it luck of strike? Luck of stroke of luck. Stroke of luck. Maybe they had a stroke of luck. But no. They just kept going. It just kept getting better. It's just it makes you feel happy because you just know, I mean, for now, knock on wood, you just know they'll keep improving, and we love to see that. I love to see it.
I saw the new characters. I saw Carlotta. I saw Rosia. I pulled Rosia. And in fact, even right now, I have Rosia on my account, but I haven't built her yet. I really need to build this character. I really need to get to this. I will eventually. But all of that wasn't enough to convince me to come back. I think it was probably just a mix of I was busy with HSR at the time, and I think there might have been a big HSR patch, so I just really wasn't paying attention to what was happening in WoWa. I was kind of blind to it. I don't interact with a lot of
See, that's completely fair. I don't know what's going on with Genshin. I don't know what's going on with ZZZ. I don't know what's going on with Star Rail. I don't know what's going on with Arknights. I don't know what's going on with any of these other games and stuff because I play WoWa and I consume WoWa content, and that's about it when I'm playing WoWa. I mean, I play other games obviously, but like the feed doesn't cross over. These lines don't intersect. The Genshin Impact and WoWa content lines don't intersect. When I'm watching WoWa content, I see more WoWa content. I don't really see Genshin content or Star Rail content. So it's completely fair that you would miss something going on in another game that could be the most insane thing, the coolest thing. Hell, Genshin Impact. I was aware of the game. People at my work played it all the time. I didn't really know anything about it. Even when like Fontaine was going on, I was like, that looks pretty cool, but I'm probably not going to play it because it doesn't look like it's intriguing me. But then looking back on it now, Fontaine was probably the best experience in Genshin Impact so far, at least what I've seen a lot of people say. And it looked really good as well. I watched a lot of the cutscenes. It's pretty cool.
Community discussion. So unless it like super blows up on YouTube, I usually don't hear about it. So it wasn't like I really made a decision to not play 2.0. I just didn't really hear about it. It's only now that I'm learning about everything that they did in 2.0 and how
So
much
content to
better
play.
it was than everything else at the time. And looking back at it, I'm like, man, I really wish I came back during that update. It would have been really cool. But nonetheless,
I totally feel that. Like, I think like we can all kind of agree to some extent that missing out on a game when it was at its peak and then playing it later, you're like, fuck, why wasn't I there? Um, fucking, what was mine? God damn it. I think it was like Halo 2, uh, PvP or multiplayer and stuff. I think I never really interacted with it. I only really played the campaign, but looking back on it now, like after I played Reach multiplayer like a motherfucker. I was on that bitch all the time and stuff like that, but I never really interacted with 2 or 3 that much multiplayer. And looking back on it, I'm like, damn, I should have fucking played the multiplayer. Why did I only play the campaigns? The campaigns were fucking amazing. The story in Halo is immaculate. It's one of the best stories ever written in video games. Fight me.
another 2 updates patches. We had 2.1, 2.2. I don't think anything too crazy happened during those updates. Same thing.
Okay. 2.1 wasn't a bad patch, to be honest. We had fishing. We had a new zone to explore. It was chill. It wasn't anything crazy. That's fair, though. Really nothing crazy happened. 2.2, though? 2.2? Bro, we met Cardathea. We fucking fought Threnodian. Well, not Threnodian, sorry. We fought fucking Big Cardathea, Fleur de Lis. One of the coolest battles. Amazing cutscene there with one of our first songs we got lyrics to listen to while we fucking fought. Oh my god, it's on my playlist. I listen to that all the time still, every now and again. Currently, Ode to the Nameless is my main one, the one from 2.4. That's my main song I listen to from Gotchas, because that shit's so fucking good. But 2.2 was amazing. The story was, it was insane. It was so good. It was, personally to me, a 2.2 story was better than 2.0.
With 2.3, I don't think there was anything too crazy that happened during those updates.
No, 2.3 didn't really have anything crazy. They had 2 character stories. We had we had Zanny's story, which was boring up to the last 30 minutes, then it got really fun. And then we had Chacona's story, which actually was really well put together, to be honest. I quite liked Chacona's story, to be real. But other than that, the events, I did not like any of the events. I did not think they were good anniversary events. And the community was very upset with Kuro about a lot of things during that time period. So that was 2.3 was rough, especially coming off the heels of 2.2.
It's just good stories, new region, a bunch of good characters like Zani I know came out, and the craziest character of all time, that one jellyfish lady with the tongue thing. Now that almost convinced me to come back. But nonetheless, I didn't really hear a lot of hype around Wuwa until what came with the 2.4 update, being the Cardathea release. Cardathea, I think? Cardathea?
They put out so many trailers for
came back to
Cardathea.
Wuthering Waves. And
They put out, I think, how many songs did they make just for Cardathea? Like, holy shit. I think we got like 2 or 3 songs just made for scenes when Cardathea shows up. And I think every single one of them has lyrics in them too. It's like, whoa. They're dropping some heavy input on Cardathea. I mean, she's still playing out the story. We all saw the snippet at the end of the 2.6 live stream. Galbrina's might come go kill Cardathea. That could be interesting. Speaking of Galbrina, she got crazy good voice. Holy fuck, her voice actor sounds hot as shit. But yeah. Leading up to 2.4, hype was fucking insane as well. I feel like hype for 2.0 is more than hype for 2.4. Maybe I'm just misremembering this by chance. I don't know.
To get rings of, oh, I'm missing out. And I realized, what have I been doing? I'm in the middle of playing HSR. I vehemently hate that story. I think Honkai Star Rail is one of the worst stories in gacha gaming, and I will stand on that. I
don't know. I don't play Star Rail, so I don't know about the story. Only thing I know about it is the stories are like very fucking long. Like 8-hour stories or some shit, which I'm sorry, I can't. That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking. That's a lot. I can't digest that. That's too much for me. So also the playstyle doesn't really fit what I'd be interested in as well. So
playing Genshin. I'm kind of playing ZZ, but I wasn't following up on the story. And I'm hearing all this. Oh, Wu has such a great story. So I said, fine. And I went back to the game, starting at the 1 point.
Correction. I think it has a okay story, a pretty good story, but I think how they execute the story is like insanely well done. You know, it's kind of like you could have the worst story ever, but how you portray and play out the story and how it's paced could be an 11 out of 10, and it drags that story to the fucking top, because it's just so good. It's also reversed. To be honest, you could have a fucking amazing story, but if it's told terribly, then it's a fucking bad story, and no one's gonna want to watch it as well. So it goes both ways.
3 update, because I was still at the 1.3 story. I hadn't progressed up until then, and originally I had wanted to go live and experience it with my viewers, but what I actually realized is that interacting to stories live, it's just not something I enjoy doing. I really want to immerse myself in the story.
That's fair.
And I can just do that way better when I'm playing it alone. So I loaded it up on my PlayStation. I sat in my bed and I went through the whole 1.3 story all the way up till 2.0, maybe 2.3, I think, in about 2 sittings. And holy crap, was it ever an experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm now in love with Shorekeeper in real life. Favorite story until the latest one. Carthea, amazing. Lupa, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on Lupa. Lupa probably also my favorite character. There's too many good characters. I swear every Wuwa story is like one character story mixed with a main chapter story all into one, and they're expanding so much on all these characters that it literally just makes you want to pull them all. And so I did pull them all.
Good on you. Good on you for pulling the characters. Yeah, they do really well. They do really well. They really do a good job of basically adding the characters into the main stories and it being like a character story and a main story as well. So it's still a character story, but it pushes the main narrative on top of that. Where you both get attached to the overarching story, but also the character itself, which is good or bad. You're like, fuck, I don't want to miss this character, and now you got to pull her and stuff. But I think they did this perfectly with Lupa in 2.4. I think this was one of the biggest fucking moments out of all of them, to be real. Which, like, Cardathea, they could all as well, but in essence, I view Cardathea as the story currently going on. Everything that's kind of going on of 2.0 is kind of, she's in the center of this, and everything's kind of looping around her, so she's kind of like the core of the main story, to be real. While Lupa was kind of like a character on the side, but she was but she was in the main story, and they did such a good job with her story and the main story on top of it. It was just amazing.
I came back to 2.3, pulled me a Cardathea and
one hell of pronunciation,
a Lupa, and I've never regretted it. I got Lupa's weapon too, and boys, I've never been having more fun in gacha gaming than I am with this. Honestly, it's not even something I even really want to cover on YouTube because I actually enjoy it so much that other than like maybe building videos and pulling videos, I just want to experience it all myself. I'm greedy. I don't want to experience it with you guys because then I'm forced to do commentary. I have to think of funny jokes on the spot. I can't just lock in.
That's why because I tried to do the streaming, it just wasn't really not my thing. I much prefer playing the story and then just recording everything and putting it on YouTube for people to watch me react to it. Plus, it gives me more of puts all my attention pretty much on the story, which is amazing. I love that, to be real. And also I think I've kind of reversed, to be honest. I like how he says he just wants to watch the story and doesn't want to record or stream and stuff like that. I would say I'm the reverse, is I want to be invested in the story, but I want to record it so I can go back and watch it. I think I've talked about this multiple times. My biggest regret with Wuthering Waves is the fact I did not record my experience and me going through the stories prior to 2.4 because, man, if I could go back and I could record my reaction to 2.2, holy shit. Um, I was I was like, I was fucked up at the end of 2.2. I was like, this is so fucking good. I was a little teary eyed and shit. I was like, God damn it. I still regret not having that. I'm glad I started recording it because now I can go back and I'll see my reactions to 2.4 story and 2.5, and it's so good. And then 2.5, I'm fucking back here pissed off, sad and shit. Like, God damn it, man. Why the fuck she died? God damn it. And it's fun. It's fun. It's cool to watch it. It's nice to see my see you look back on your past. It's kind of cool in a weird way. And I'm sure I'll feel about this in like 3 years from now if I keep going. I'll be like, oh, let me go watch me go play. We'll be in like 5 point whatever the fuck, and I'll go look back like, what was my reaction to the 2.4 story or the 2.5? It's kind of cool.
which is something I want to do, especially with this. But getting into more of the 2.4 update, it
Okay.
was such a great update for Wuthering
Oh
Waves.
yeah, it was amazing.
A crap ton of free pulls.
True.
Also, oh my gosh. Yeah, that too, which was cinema. Carthia being one of the best DPSs in the whole game, being HP scaling, arrow DPS, has like some really cool combat abilities that I haven't seen in any characters like her. Definitely has some of the best animations in gacha gaming history.
Hell yeah.
I still think HSR probably takes the cake with the Phynon and the Dragon being super freaking dope. But nonetheless, what HSR was able to do with Carthia, with Lupa, is something I've never seen before. There's never been an update that's made me want to pull a character.
For clarification, I meant made me want to pull a character based on what happened in the story. Okay.
The second half of 2.4 has been my favorite story of all time. The first half was good too. Getting to Septimont, learning about August.
Yeah, the first story in 2.4 was really good. It was enjoyable. It was fun to go through. But obviously, it was kind of like a cliffhanger. We didn't really have a resolving ending to an extent. The ending was still great. Watching the whole like split fiction shit go on, and then Fleur de Lis / Cardathia fucking Aura Farm and split the fucking heavens type shit. That was amazing. The 2D animation. The second half, 2.4, though, was fucking amazing, though. I'm sorry. It like, the first half pales in comparison to the second half. The second half was such a fun fucking experience. It was an hour and a half, but I was so fucking absorbed in the story. It was so good. And I'm actually glad it was an hour and a half because I felt refreshed even after finishing it. I was happy. I was smiling. I was like, this is the best fucking thing ever, man. From Lupa's speech to the Threnodian to Mia, and then the music kicks on, the Ode to the Nameless. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? This is amazing. And then the fucking guitar riffs during the boss battle was awesome. And then the cutscene in the end where they're having the duel of fates type shit. Both the gladiators, one final duel. Mia's basically just wants to fight one more time, and Lupa's always wanted to challenge Mia. She's an idol she looked up to. Was so good. Oh man, it was just so good. So good.
And I can't remember the blue-haired character's name, but she was super cool too.
Fiona.
Learning about the lore of that city, getting all this mystery, and then not getting any conclusions was
It is
so
a massive
frustrating.
fucking
But then the
city, to be
second half in
honest. It's pretty
2.4,
cool, actually.
when they start slowly unraveling the mysteries one by one by one by one, and learning more about Lupa and her purpose in the story.
Yep.
In the past with Maya and Trailblazer, letting Lupa be the main character, and that final action battle with
that's
Lupa
fair. He plays a lot of
versus
gacha games.
Maya, or technically the Threnodian. And them fighting was one of the sickest scenes I've ever seen. And then Lupa breaking
Felt like
out,
an anime.
coming
It
to
really did.
hug Cardathia and Rover, had me in tears. It was
I'd say the opposite reaction. I was smiling from ear to ear. I was like, this is fucking amazing. But, what had me in the tears, though, was 2.5, though. That shit had me fucked up.
so moving. That whole story. And Lupa easily became one of my favorite characters based on that.
Oh yeah.
And also,
Same.
that boy, Cristolfo, whatever that dude name is. I do not.
I talked about this. Cristoforo, man, 2.4 made this man into a villain. I said, hey, Wuthering Waves finally has a villain. And because they kind of always say, like, they have a villain. It's the Threnodians and stuff. But no one, that's an inanimate object. No one knows what the fuck a Threnodian is. It's like the dark versus the light and shit. It's like, oh, it's so fucking far gone. People don't fucking know what that means. But when you can see someone like Cristoforo and this man's laughing and taking joy and pleasure in how Mia died, and then he's like experimenting on her fucking body and shit, and then he's trying to fuck over Lupa and kind of like erase her from existence so the Thermodian can get power back. It's like, this guy's fucking evil. He's kind of a motherfucker. I can't lie. And you see that. You watch other people's reactions at the ending of 2.4 when Cristoforo's like, oh, my plan was foiled. And everyone's like, fuck you. I hate you. It's They did a pretty good job making a villain, I ain't gonna lie.
Mess with him at all.
Plus the
But
architect.
nonetheless, that was my favorite update and probably all of Gacha Gaming, easily. And since then, I've been so.
I do think 2.4 overall in Wuthering Waves is probably the best patch. I think 2.0 had the biggest effect, though, on the game itself and the community. But I think 2.4 as a whole is the best patch because we had two amazing events, plus the story, plus the characters, and all the other. It was just so good. But I also really liked 2.5 story a lot and 2.2. It's just we're getting to the point where I'm like, God damn it, it's hard to rank these things because everything's so good. It's like fuck. It's like we're decimate, like we're breaking down the decibels now on how I feel about things. We're pinching.
In love with Wuwa. It's been all I've been wanting to do
Hell yeah,
recently,
man.
and that's been even more impacted
I love
by
that
the
feeling.
2.5 update with the introduction of Furlova, who again had a really good character quest or main story quest. I'm gonna be honest, these main quests are such character quests, but main story quests are this all. I said this before, but they're all kind of mixed as one,
Yep,
and they do
I was
such
just
a
talking
good
about this.
job at just building up these characters in
Yes.
the main story quest as a character quest, even though rest in peace for Lova. But they do such a good job of building up these characters. And again, I had to pull for Lova, never got her weapon because sad, but I had to pull her. There wasn't an option. Again, another super fun character. I love her gameplay. I love her animations. I love how
She's a cool
animated
character, but-
everything is in this game. I always go through this game, and whenever I'm watching a story, I think, when's the black wall white text gonna appear? And the one time it appears,
I
it's
know this
with the
meme.
most emotional words Furlova's ever
played this
said,
game before.
and it comes at a time when you're not expecting it, and then when it appears, you're like, oh crap. And you know exactly what she's talking about, and it has
This
so much
fucking
meaning. And it's not
destroyed me when the
used as
music
a
was
function to
fucking
like
mad, dude.
not do an animation.
God
For
damn.
example, when HSR does black screen white text, they do it so they don't have to animate it. For example, Saber eating a burger. They have to write that out because they can't pay to have Saber eat the burger. But at the one moment where Ruwa does it, it's for an emotional impact. It's for
Well, I'm not surprised HSR is kind of doing stuff like that when their stories are from what I've heard, like 8 hours long or 5 hours long. It's like they're that fucking long. It's going to be expensive if you're going to try to animate the entire thing, which my recommendation is not to substitute that with black and white text or vice versa. I don't fucking know. It's to compress the story into more digestible, like an hour and a half, 2, 3 hours and stuff. And then you invest all your money on that 3 hours instead of spreading all that off to fucking 8 hours and shit, you know? Quality over quantity type scenario. But that's just a recommendation.
Lova's, I think, final words in the story, and I think it's all about waiting for the rover and her time waiting for the rover.
Yep.
Which I thought was such a beautiful story, and I absolutely
really
loved
good
it.
story.
And I think
was
that
a little-
about covers my journey.
It was really
with
good, but
Wuthering
made me
Waves,
fucking cry.
why I dropped it, why I came back to it, and what I absolutely love about it now.
Hell yeah.
I think it's one of the greatest gacha games, if not the greatest gacha game of our generation. Will there be a better one in the
shit.
future? I don't know.
Probably.
We'll have to wait and
I'll
see.
be real.
I probably glazed a little.
I'll be real. Games always improve. There will always be a new king on top. And we still look back at old games and like Halo. For me, it's Halo. And you still look back on that and you still think this is the best fucking thing ever. But I also accept that there's better game mechanics now. There's some stories told a bit better and stuff. But my experiences I had in Halo at the time will always capture that moment, that 2000s period for me, and it'll never take that away from me. And so, like, even if I play something now and it's just over, like the story's better, the gameplay's better, everything's better than Halo, that's great. And this time period in the 2020s, I'm gonna be like, this is the best thing ever in 2020. But I'm still gonna look back on that 2000 period and go, Halo 1, 2, and 3, or CE 2 and 3 was the best fucking Reach included, and ODST was the best fucking experiences I had in video games in that time period. And that's nothing I play now is gonna take that away from me ever again. All right. And I think that's a good thing. You should. I recommend y'all feel that as well. The moments that you had in a game, regardless of how that game turned out, and maybe it's shit now, you fucking hate it, but you had a really good time playing it when it first released, like the first year or the second year. Still look back on the first and second year and go, man, I'm so glad I fucking experienced that. But also look back on the game now and go, hey, I'm glad I dropped the game. Like, especially if you dropped it, and go, hey, I'm glad I dropped the game. I still think the first 1 or 2 years playing was the best fucking experience of my life. It's bad now, but it is what it is. It's not gonna take away from what I experienced in those first couple years of the game.
Too much in this video, but nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, maybe drop a subscription. But nonetheless, that's gonna be all for me. I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Peace.
Hell yeah, that was dope. Good video. I really like how he gave a timeline of events. He explained his reasonings why he dropped the game. Albeit, I mean, no, the title's fair. It kind of makes it. The problem is the title makes me think it's happening in the present, not in the past. But is what it is. Um, I think overall, though, it's completely understandable why he dropped the game initially. 1.0 was rough for a lot of people. I'm not going to fault people for dropping the game back then. And I'm also not going to look at those people that came back for 2.0 and go, oh, why did you come back? Oh, I thought you dropped the game. No, it's fucking mean. Why the fuck would I do that? I'd be like, I'm glad you're back, you know? I'm glad you came back. I'm like, this is such a fun fucking game to experience. The story is amazing. All I want is for more people to experience it. I'm not going to fucking look at someone that you know, I have no ill hate towards, Star Rail or Genshin Impact or ZZZ because I haven't played them and I'm not going to give opinions really on them to an extent because I haven't played them. I don't know what it's like. So I'm not going to look at those guys that come over here to try out WoW and I'm not going to say, oh, you're a Genshin player. Why the fuck are you coming over here? It's like, no, no, man. Come on over. Come experience this story. I loved this story. This story is so much fun. It's executed so well. The music is amazing. The action scenes are so fun. The combat's amazing. They keep improving the game. We're getting flying in the 1.0 zones. Like, get more of your friends over here, bro. Come on in. This shit's fun. Maybe don't interact with the Twitter community. That's a little bit fucking. But just play the game. Play the game. It's fun as fuck. But hell yeah, dude. This was a dope video. It was kind of cool looking back on people, and then it's cool looking on watching other people and what their experiences are. I think we all can all agree in this. We have all watched other YouTubers and how they. I love to go watch react videos where they go play a story like the 2.2 or 2.4 or 2.5, and I watch them and I go, oh my god, I had the same reaction. Or like, why is this guy reacting differently than me? Why is he in tears but I'm laughing? Why is he laughing and I'm in tears and stuff? It's cool to watch. It's cool to watch, and I totally recommend. Come fucking play WoW, man. It's so much fun. It really is. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not gonna dog on you or anything. But hell yeah. Uh, hope you enjoyed the video, y'all. This video, Keck Vince, will be down below, so you can go check it out for yourselves if you prefer to do that. Give it a like, give him a subscribe. I really enjoyed this video. He might not be putting out Woowa content. I don't know. He even said that he might just be doing his polls and maybe some builds and stuff like that because he wants to experience the game himself in his own private domicile and stuff. Private domicile. But hell yeah, dude. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Appreciate it. If you could give me a like as well or a subscribe. Uh, how do you feel about Woowa? What was your thoughts leading up from 1.0 to 2.0, and how do you feel about the game looking back on it? That's what I want to know. Is now that we've come so far, we're leading up to 2.6. We've already watched the live stream. Looking back on the game all the way basically a year ago, and looking back on the 1.0 experience and what we've led up to now, how do you feel about the game? How do you feel about how it's progressed? What changes they've made? Is it good or is it bad? I think most of us can agree it's pretty good, to be real. Um, And let me know what your experiences are. But anyways, that's it. Go away now, and ciao. Have a good one.